I buy faulty electronics on eBay, attempt to fix them and sell them on for a profit. Welcome your faces back to episode number 80 of this series, Profit or Loss. If you watched last episode, you would definitely be aware that we are now on a 6-win streak, which the last time this happened was episodes 22 to 27. I have never had a 7-win streak with this series. Are we going to completely rewrite history today, and is this going to be a first where we win 7 on the bounce? If I'm honest, I'm not too sure with today's item. Our first little clue, by the looks of it, is a pretty good one. We have a HDMI cable and a power lead, but it also looks like, oh, okay, fine. So this controller has been a little bit beaten up, and it looks like it needs a new analog stick as well as a decent clean, I think. But the battery cover is also missing on the back anyways. But good news is it doesn't look like it's been opened up before. So I'm going to treat that as like a little bit of an added bonus as such. This isn't the main item. This is the main item that we have today. Now, I'm just tearing this open, and what on earth am I seeing here? What's happened? Look at all that water. Well, at least I think it's water. I don't know what it is. This is where I was meant to be like, oh, I paid X amount, but unless it's like condensation. I don't think it's condensation. It definitely looks like water damage to me. What's this? What is that? Well, this console is soaked. My issue is that why would you wrap something like this up and send it like that? You would just wipe it down before you sent it. You know? Look at it. What? I don't understand. I'm very confused and shocked right now, if I'm honest. And there's more to this. Let me show you the messages between me and this seller. Here's the Xbox in question, and I can't see like any liquid damage or anything. Like here, there's no liquid damage. So what's happened? And if you look on top of it, you can see, try and be as accurate as I can here, you've got the green rings, right, that don't have anything in them. But if I go to here, can you see how, like, we've got the white stuff, whatever that is, which clearly isn't shown on the photos, is it? So I did also send a message to this seller and just said, hey, has the sticker on the back been breached of warranty? And he said, hello, no, I haven't opened the console, it just stopped working and there's no power going to it, so just selling the spares and repairs at the moment. Then I said, okay, no worries, is it your own personal console or you bought it to sell? And this seller said it was my own personal console. I guess that doesn't really have any relevancy about the water damage, but still, I'm just shocked. So because this has liquid damage, I'm definitely in two minds whether to just send it back or not, if I'm honest with you, because clearly on the listing it doesn't say anything about liquid damage, and also the box that it was sent in doesn't have any residue on it or water marks or anything. Well, let me just wipe that off. Now might be a good time to say that I paid £135 for this Xbox Series X, and you know what, I am just going to open it and see how bad the extent of this damage actually is. So this is just my pure curiosity now. I've got photos and stuff of the condition of this. I mean I've just taken the screws out, but I've noticed something. Look at that HDMI port. What? It's like cracked in the middle and everything. And again, let me remind you that the message said, I haven't opened it. It just has stopped working and there's no power going to it. So was that before or after? It displays no image because it has a busted HDMI port. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is going straight back. This is going straight back to the seller. So there's a bug here, which is cool. All right, it is what it is. When I tell you I can see the amount of rust that I see here, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There is no way, I'm sorry, that you've just been using this and it's just stopped working when the console looks like this. This was found in a skip. That is 100% my bet, is that this was found outside in the rain or in the garbage or something. They've not fully inspected the console. They've packaged it up, and because the box has probably gone like this, the water has then come out of the main motherboard or wherever the water was held, and now we're dealing with this. This is going to be a null and void start. Also, they've said it's not been opened before, but the this ribbon cable down here is disconnected as well. My biggest reason for returning this, other than the rust and everything else, is the fact that the HDMI port is broken. This console didn't just stop working when you were playing it. And I'm sorry, look at the state of that. Are you having a laugh? It'll be interesting anyway to update you on the actual return. I'm not going to read it all out to you, but I basically said there was a HDMI port that was broken, etc., and that it doesn't match the description or the photos. I feel like I've also been lied to, which hurts. Instead of moving swiftly to item number 2, I actually have a little bit of an update regarding the return. So the reply that I got is, thank you for reaching out regarding your return request. Unfortunately, the listing for the item you purchased clearly stated that it was for spares or repairs. Additionally, the item was shipped through a third party and not directly by myself. Given these conditions, I'm unable to process a refund. Thank you. I'm sure when this seller says third party, that they're talking about, Royal Mail or a delivery service. And the reason I say that is because, again, I have another message swiftly after they said that it was their own personal console. That says, I'm trying to purchase a label for you, but I can't find Joey Does Tech under the address number. Can you tell me which one I choose? And I said, can you just type it out manually? To which they reply, of course, no worries. If they were talking about the liability of them personally packing the device and sending it, the proof is there. Because I've got a message from that seller directly saying that they couldn't find the address. I'm going to go back and say, yeah, it was listed for spares and repairs, but the pictures didn't line up to what they were on the listing. And I can't use anything that's inside for spares because it's all wet. And maybe I'll give you guys another update depending on how quick they respond. We have movement. I always like to try and be polite but punctual to get my point across. So I said thanks for getting back to me swiftly because it was relatively quick that they replied. Nothing can be used for parts and certainly cannot be repaired. The liquids come from inside the console. You also stated in a private message to me that the console hasn't been opened, but the warranty sticker has been voided, meaning it's been opened before. The pictures did not show this. To which they have swiftly organised a return. To be honest, I didn't really expect anything less, but with that being said, should we actually do some fixing? Let's move on to item number 2. Please don't be as bad as that. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but this item looks really well packaged. Come on, give us a win and let it be 7. Okay, yes. Now, again, as always, this could be pretty risky. I paid a total of £25 for this Xbox One S. Condition-wise, not great. It doesn't come across very well on camera. Just lower the ISO a bit. It's rather dirty. It's a digital Xbox One S, and unfortunately, it has been opened before. We can see just here. Supposedly, it powers on, it works, but it doesn't display an image. Now, if you listen very carefully, there's also something rattling around inside. Because of the condition of this console, I'm not going to get a full price for it anyway, plus it's a digital, so they don't sell very well. Nonetheless, let's take it apart and hopefully make, even if it's just a little bit of profit with this. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's actually rattling around inside. Okay, so that button's going to have to be replaced. I'm thinking, because especially that's just falling out, I'm just going to replace the shell if I can get this working. So I'll put this all into a different housing, and that way we should be able to get a fairly normal price as long as I can fix it. Weirdly enough, it doesn't actually feel like somebody has been inside this console before from how the screws feel, but it could be completely wrong. Once I get this screw out, I will test it because I may have forgot. That's what's rattling around. But just a bit of plastic here. Definitely has been opened because we missed. Oh, okay. And this is just fallen off as well. Nice. But mainly I know because this bit is missing. Okay. Pretty dusty and dirty and grimy. Smells funky as well. Let's just go ahead and make sure that it actually powers on to start with. So we haven't been scammed. Does it power on? Okay. Does it stay on? Because it could be something as simple as a hard drive, because that hard drive has seen better days. If I get you a bit of a close-up. Yeah, the hard drive's definitely seen better days. I'm hoping it's the hard drive. I did just hear a click. Now, a click will insinuate that the hard drive is faulty. Just plug that in. Go over here to our game scene and just see if we get anything. No, I can hear the hard drive clicking. I'll see if I can get a close-up. There. I don't know if you heard it. I'm hoping it's just about hard drive. I'll take the hard drive out the chassis, put it into my PC, and we'll have a look and see what the health of the device is. So open up Crystal Disk Info. Ah, there we go. So it says this 7 is a caution, and the place where it is cautioning is C5, current pending sector count. I really find it hard to believe this has only had 4 attempts of powering on and 0 hours of being on. So the hard drive is confirmed as faulty. I'm going to get a newer drive, stick that in the console, just make sure we can boot it up and stuff, and then we should be looking at a fairly easy profit. I'll make sure to take the fan off and give this some new thermal paste as well to give it a little bit of life. But first, we need to install OSU 1. Okay, so we go troubleshoot. Shock, we have display, by the way, and then we do offline system update, preparing console. This update should go through relatively quickly. I actually use OSU 1, which is on an SSD, only 120 gig, but it makes this process very quick. I'm not going to bore you with the whole update process. Once it's done, I shall let you know. Ooh, okay, so we got to the end of the update, and then it said E100. So E100 can mean a plethora of different things, and it's usually not great news. I'm going to start with downloading the most recent version of OSU 1. If you haven't got the correct version of OSU 1, which is always going to be the latest one released by Microsoft, the update actually fails at the start. So I don't know if this is going to be OSU 1. Second thing I'm going to do is just swap out to another hard drive because I might have a faulty drive that I'm using here. So I tried those two things and hopefully it's good news. Attempt number 2. Okay, well, it's done it again. Different drive, updated OSU 1. Last but not least, the only other thing I can think of is potentially bad wiring here. So I'm going to replace this. 3rd time's the charm. Saying that, this is Mr. Bridges' cable tester for these things. And after a good wiggle on everything, all of these lights are still showing okay. So I don't think it's an issue with the connection from this connector to the board itself. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to just take this one as parts. I could use the motherboard, the power supply, the fan after a clean, front PCB and the Wi-Fi PCB. What that does, however, mean is that I'm 25 down the hole at the moment. And if I want to make it 7 in a row, I have to make a profit. In which case, let's move on to item number 3. If I have any chance at rescuing this episode, if we have any chance of winning, it's with an Xbox One X. I paid a total of £45 for this console. Now, looking at the eBay listing, it says that the item is being sold for parts due to having a faulty disk drive. If that's all that's wrong with this console, we can still scrape a profit. And I really hope I haven't been eBayed. First things first, as always, do we have power and do we have display? Just to confirm that everything is all right. Power on. Yeah, we do have what seems to be a white light at the bottom. Now, I do have plenty of donor disk drives, so in theory, this should be nice and easy. Right, the console stayed on, which is nice. Do we have a display? Doesn't look like it, hey? Make sure I've plugged the HDMI cable in the right HDMI port. I have. Let me wiggle it around. See if we get any intermittent sort of signal. Doesn't look like it. The console's still on. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, it's doing something. That HDMI port is really bad, because even if I touch it even slightly, let me see if I can just show you here. So we've got the screen. If I wiggle this, can you see? Just ever so slightly touching it. Let it come back on again. So there we go. If I give it the slightest wiggle, it goes off. So that port is definitely going to need changing regardless of the situation. Somebody might buy this from me, go to plug it in, and it just not display. And they'll be like, oh, I'm not happy. So therefore, we need to change out the HDMI port. Now, with that off, what about the disk drive? I can hear like an eject. Oh, did you hear that? Listen. God, that is not... Whatever that is, it does not sound good. At least I can confirm I've got an image now, so I can shut this down. Even if this was completely messed up, I've got nothing else to fix now. So I'd still be trying my hardest to resurrect this. Right, console's off. Let's take it apart and inspect and see what's going on with this disk drive. Definitely has been opened before, from what I can tell. Just a bit of a word of warning. This console is not looking good. It is disgusting. Like, so disgusting. I need to get my Hoover. The horrible thing is that it's all like thick, sticky dust, you know. I already know this console's thanking me. Looks like as well this had a service in 2021. So all this damage, dust and everything. Not damage, I guess, but it's all been done since then in the 3 years. Crazy. Seems to be some like sort of burn mark down here where the APU is. All these dust bunnies down here, look. And remember, one thing at a time. So we'll sort that disk drive, and then we'll sort the HDMI port and the display issue that we have. Slowly but surely, we'll restore this console and hopefully make a profit. Now, because the dust is quite thick, I'm going to have to go in here with my old microfiber cloth and scrape away what I can. Bit of IPA around here, just there, look. Help with some of the stubborn stuff. That's better. Now, there could be quite a high chance that the reason the disk drive isn't working for this is because it's just clogged with dust and dirt, you know? Especially if it's the sticky stuff that's on here. Yeah, look, it's just extreme yellowing in here. Again, rather unfortunate because I'm probably going to have to sell it quite a bit cheaper and say that it's come from the smoker's home, because I'm pretty sure this is exactly what this is. I still definitely think there's a profit to be made, but just not as significant as what it would have potentially been. I think if you are somebody who smokes around your console, it is pretty much imperative that you get it serviced once a year at least. Now again, IPA can really work wonders, especially with getting some of that yellowing out. Show you an example here. We just put some IPA here. Watch this. Let it soak for a second or two. If I just do that. So let's look at the state of the cloth before I do it. And after. Look at that. There we go. That looks a bit better. Now, the fan has some yellowing around it here. Give that a quick wipe. I wonder how bad the fan's going to be inside. Need to change out the HDMI anyway, so I might as well unscrew everything. I think it's also best we check the status of the hard drive. Make sure that's not got any faults. Okay, I'm going to keep recording just in case I see anything disgusting, or vital to our investigation, should I say. You know what? Other than, again, a little bit of dusting on the hard drive looks okay. We have the slight yellowing on the PCB. Yeah, and the fan isn't clogged with dust because you can pretty much see straight through it. I would, however, put money on the fact that I bet this machine was getting quite loud. Look at the thick tar that we have down here. I don't know if this is vape juice or just like standard cigarettes. I'm not too sure. Here we go. Again, 10 times better. A little bit of IPA and a nice clean. I will just see if I can get my toothbrush down here and just scrape off some of the hard bits of dust that we have. And there we go. That's at least looking 13 times better than what it did previous. How does the actual power supply look? That looks okay, to be honest. Okay, nice. Let's focus our attention then on the disk drive. Wow. It might even be worth, because of the state of this already, just swapping it out. When I say swapping it out, you can just simply swap over the board that's in here into another disk drive. We'll see how bad the damage is. Take off the screws for the drive. We do have a disk in there. Jubbly. Do have a couple of other screws for the actual PCB, so let's just take those out. Now I can't really see off the face of it like what could be really wrong. This band here seems to be okay for the rollers, doesn't seem to be an issue. The board itself looks okay, it looks really clean. The only other thing that I would say is that with the mesh and stuff here, maybe that is what's sticky and causing it to mess up. And because, again, I don't have the best amount of knowledge on these, I think it's going to be best just to stick it in this one, for example. And at least see if that just gets us up and running, because then we can boil it down to a board fault or something mechanically. So for those who don't know, this board is paired to the motherboard. Wherever this board goes, the console needs to follow. Now, I am also going to get this disc out quick. And I can't for the life of me remember how to do it without taking the laser out. So I can't just push that through. Wow, that looks so scratched there. Look at that. Oof. Where is it? Metal Gear Solid, fair enough. How's it look after a clean? Yeah, do you know what? Ooh, we have some deep scratches here and up here, so I don't know if that's going to affect the actual disc, but we'll test it. We'll test it. I actually have an abundance of these drives, by the way, so it really does make sense to just simply swap it. Quick little soldering job, the red to red. Handy when it says it on the motherboard what it's actually for. There we go. And black to black. Put our ribbon cables in. Secure the board. Finishing touches. All right, let's give it a test. This is just going to be a rough and ready test, so plug that in. It's going to turn on the console. Okay, it still works, which is good news. The important question is it going to ask me to do an update? Okay, 500 meg, that's not too bad. Now, actually, this update is really good because what it means is that it will test the pairing of that PCB within the disk drive. If that disk drive PCB isn't compatible, the update won't go through and won't finish. So it's actually a really good test. Good news, I think the update is completed. Do you know what's really weird? Like, I'm really wiggling this port now, and it's absolutely fine. I wonder if there was just something in there, so when I give it a clean and a hoover, it was fine. Because I don't know if you can see over here. And then watch the screen. Look how much I'm wiggling this now, and that's not even remotely turning off compared to what it was before. So I do genuinely wonder if it was just a little bit of dirt inside, which was interrupting the connection, which makes complete sense. Right, let's test this disk drive. Here we go. Putting the disk in. Takes it. Sounds really good. Really healthy. Does it show up on the dashboard? Or did I put the disc in the wrong way? Hey, there we go. Metal Gear Solid. Sweet. And it's installing. And there we go. We can see the little white bar moving across as well, which shows that it's actually installing the game. Now what I need to do is actually get this back together. And it's going to be so close to see if we actually make a profit in today's episode because of that £25 loss. And considering that I'm going to probably have to knock £10 off the final price for this console because it was living in a smoker's house. So it's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be very tight margins. But please let it be 7 in a row for the first time. Also want to check the health of this hard drive. So we're going to plug it into the PC and just make sure that we're going to get a little bit more of a longer life. Hopefully we don't have any warning messages or anything like that. Okay, do we got a beep bitty beep? Here we go. Okay, reasonable amount of time. Crystal disk info. Okay, it shows 32 degrees disk 7, looking good. Don't seem to have any errors or anything down there. I will say as well that the drive loaded fairly quick into the OS, so I don't think we're going to have any issues. The 6,000 power ons and 21,000 hours on in total is probably, I would say, above average, but everything looks okay. And did you think I was going to forget the most important part of this process? Changing out the thermal pasta. I'm also going to try and just get some of this yellowing off the board, if I can. Surprisingly, the thermal paste is still pretty wet, to be honest. New thermal paste installed. Now fully reassemble and test. This console has been tested fully back together and is working exactly as it should. I've also just checked the price of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, and I think I'm going to be able to get £3 for it on eBay. So that's a bonus. I'm going to need everything I can if we want to make a win today. Let's head on over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet and see what the verdict is. So we are going to completely ignore the Xbox Series X that we had today. The Xbox One S was £25. This Xbox One X was £45, giving us a total cost of £70 in today's episode. The most recent one that I sold was £100, but that was like last year, so I can't really go by that pricing. The two recent ones that I sold, Xbox One X's that I worked on, were the two Gold Rush limited edition ones. And again, this is just a standard edition. If I go over to eBay and search for ones that have sold recently, for example, the 22nd of June, we can see Xbox One X 1TB, £99. This one was best offer accepted, so not too sure. This one also best offer, but a controller as well. This one here, for example, £93, just the console. I'm going to go £85 plus the £3 from the disc. So we'll say £88 is what the sell price is going to be for today. Now, with the eBay fees being 9%, do we make a profit? Let's find out. Today's episode of Profit or Loss is indeed a profit of £10 and 8 pence. Let's go. Big moment this. £10, 8 pence. Profit is a profit. The last 7 episodes have all been a profit, equaling a total sum of £423. And that does in fact bring our total profit of the series to £415 and 18 pence. Long may it continue, hopefully. Finally seem to be getting somewhere. If we hit the next 3 on the bounce, that's 10 in a row. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. If you're new around here, I'll leave the playlist where this all began just up here. Have a great rest of your day, week/weekend/evening/ whatever it is for you. And I'll see you, as always, in the next one. Peace.